Well, good evening, YouTube. Welcome to Doubles and Trebles. This is the fourth of our live Royal Ascot previews. We've been here since Monday evening, 8:30 every night, giving you the lowdown on the following day's action. And it's a bit of a special one here. It's a last one, and we're going to try and ram Friday and Saturday into this session. So if you are in the chat box joining us live, hello, thanks for joining, and do get your comments and questions in. I'll dip in and out as we go tonight, because obviously as we go across 2 days, I'm not going to ask you to get your questions for the first race on Friday and then, wait until I've tackled Saturday before we go into them. So get them comments in nice and early, and I'll try my best to get to any that are relevant. We've got Andy Hump in the chat box saying he's watching live from the Rugby League. Fantastic. That's possibly our most committed spectator ever there.
We had someone who watches live from Haydock last week, a couple of weeks ago on the Thursday. But yeah, we've gone a bit. We're touching all parts of the country, aren't we, Pieman?
Yeah, I do recall one of our live tests actually got a viewer in Hong Kong. I don't know if you remember that.
Yes.
So
yes, I do.
We are touching a few corners of the world one by one. But anyway, I've got to dive straight in. But just a quick word on today's video. I know you don't have much interest in the Gold Cup, but Stradivarius unable to topple Yates' record, of course. And that was an interesting tactical affair, wasn't it? I know you don't have much interest.
Yeah, well, I think Aidan had 4 runners. Aidan had 3. Joseph had 1. Doneker had 1. So there was plenty of Coolmore influence there. And I thought they was going to do something daft, but they didn't. That one that no one can pronounce the name of went out in front. Doonan put it up last night. I thought it was a fair enough race. The winner was good. The winner, I'm not sure if Shranky would have beat the winner with a clear run. The winner's, a bit younger, clearly improving, has been off since Maidan in March and stayed for this race. So, yeah, fair play. But like I say, I've not got no real interest. Today's selections didn't go well, don't get me wrong. Twilight Jet wasn't good enough. Ran okay, wasn't good enough. One Ruler was poor, very poor. Ear to Ear was not great and drawn on the wrong side. Blue Mist was shocking, and I said that was my best chance. Caravana wasn't great either. So the only one really from today's selection that ran well was Liffey River, second in the Britannia, beat 28 horses and didn't beat the final one. If you could say this about many of the handicaps, getting a clear run, etc. There is definitely some hard luck stories, but this is one. I think Liffey River should have won that race. Just got going a couple of strides too late. The gap just didn't open. Pineman Shane Cross was riding, and he just simply should have won. Yes, I am talking from a pocket, but I think that others will draw the same conclusion if they were to watch it back for themselves. So we rattled the crossbar with that. I think it went off at 20-1. So yeah, tad unlucky there, but. Yeah, so we're in a loss for the week, so I'll be trying to get some back over the next 2 days.
Very easily changed, isn't it? I mean, you talk about fine margins there. If Liffey River did get up, you'd be probably quite a bit ahead for the week, wouldn't you? So, still 2 days of actions to come. Maybe the winners, maybe we're saving them all for later in the week. But certainly enjoying the action nonetheless. Do get your main fantasy in for Friday and Saturday into the chat box. We're going to dive straight into Friday's action now. We're probably going to be live till around 9:10, 9:15 tonight, with having 2 days to cover, but do get your comments in. Nice to have Andy Humphrey in the chat box. Simon Smith joining us live tonight as well, and Joseph Connolly's just in there as well. He says get on Doneker in the first tomorrow. Well, going to go straight into the first, Joseph. The Albany, a Group 3, 6 furlongs for 2-year-old fillies. Where are you thinking in this one, Smido?
Well, it's not been a fantastic week for the Aidan O'Brien juveniles. He's had 3 runners in the juvenile races this week. They finished 9th, 17th and 4th. The 4th actually today was Cadamesto. Ran really quite well, was probably drawn on the wrong side. I do quite like one in the Albany though, Prettiest. I think that's his best chance of the lot from the juveniles. I thought that at the start of the week. It obviously needs to apply now, given that none of the others have won. But Prettiest to me did it really quite nicely on debut. Put her head down and really knuckled down, to be honest, when asked to do so. She looked, although it was a debut, she looked like she knew the game. She knew what she was doing. She wasn't particularly strong in the market on the day, which is something you always look for with the Ballydoyle 2-year-olds. But she's beautifully bred. By De Barwi, they don't have many horses by De Barwi at Coolmore, but out of Alice Springs, who won a couple of Group 1s herself. I do really quite like her. She's 13-2. There is 8 to 12 mil is the official forecast rain from Ascot, but it could be a lot more depending on how lucky they do get. They got lucky yesterday and only got 2.4 mil overnight, and there was people expecting a lot more than that. So as we speak now, Pieman, the ground
I
is still
saw
good
forecasts
to
for yesterday anywhere between sort of 2 millimeters and 20 something.
Oh,
So
could have been more. Could have been. It was
well,
between 2 and 50 almost.
I'm
Um,
over in Kent. I mean, I'm 50, 60 miles away from the track, but it's a similar kind of temperature and climate that we've had down this end. And I'll be honest, it's been building and building and building. We got thunder here last night, and I thought the heavens were going to open all night, but they didn't really. It was bizarre.
Yeah. So they got away with it really, and like I said yesterday, like I said yesterday, they was putting on 10 mil every other day to maintain good to firm in places, and it's still good to firm now. It's quite remarkable, really. 2.4 mil in some ways really wasn't actually enough Pieman overnight. But anyway, that's enough of the weather talk today. I do quite like Prettiest in the opener. Flotus is obviously the one at the top of the market, created a very serious impression on debut at Goodwood. Looked really, really quite talented. She's the favourite for obvious reasons. Clocked a really nice figure that day. She's 7-2, but like I said, I do like Prettiest, really well bred. There was a shout out for the Donegal horse in that race. Elliptic, yeah. I'm telling you, Gavin Ryan is a jockey going places. He rides a lot of the horses for Donegal and Joseph. So he's not quite at the table eating with the likes of Shamie Heffernan and Frankie Dettori and Ryan Moore on the Aidan O'Brien first choice. But he's mixing with them. He's walking the course with them. He's getting mentored off them, and he's they're part of the same team at a stretch, really. So Elliptic, yes, got a chance because Elliptic on debut beat a horse called Quick Susie. Well, Quick Susie's already gone and won a race at Ascot this week. So that form's clearly been backed up. So yeah, wouldn't be without a chance. She's about a 10-1 shot, but we've seen some massive upsets and prices in this in these 2-year-old races this week. This is a 2-year-old without an American influence. So at the start of the week, Pieman, I said to you I was going to ignore all American runners. Well, it's paid off, but it's paid off to this point because particularly in the juvenile races, he's had plenty of favourites, plenty of second favourites, plenty of third favourites, and none of them have won. He's got close with a couple. But unfortunately, I've not been able to pick the winner of said races, despite rightly ignoring the Americans. But Prettiest is the bet. She's 6-1. You can get 5 places each way, I think. Yeah, 6-1.
You might get a bit bigger the way she's going in the market as well, so you might want to just hang fire.
Yeah, she's potentially going backwards, but like I say, I like that 5 places angle, and you're going to make assuming she gets in the first 5, which hopefully she does, you're going to make a small bit of profit there.
Prettiest there for Smido in the first tomorrow. Then interesting selection. We've got the chat is popping off this evening. Nice to have a few of our regulars back in the chat. Hello to as I say, Andy Hump, Simon Smith, Joseph Conley. We've got Jim McDonald boxing in there. What's the crack, lads?
Yes,
good to have you in there, Jim. Simon says, did anyone see Sportsbook Ascot preview with Dettori and Channing last week? Do you see that one, Smith, or not?
No, I've watched a few, to be fair, but that wasn't one of them. I think that was like over an hour long. I gave that one a miss at the time.
Joe Wall's in the chat, often commenting on our videos, not yet made a live. He's finally made it to a live, says he's having a shocker, but it's all good. Join the club by the sounds of it, I think.
Yeah, I know the feeling. The feeling.
Paul Harris says, been a tough old Ascot for him as well. Evening, gentlemen. Here are 2 for tomorrow. Andrew Balding's in the Commonwealth Cup and the Coronation Stakes. Big outsider in the 5:35, Tyson Fury. What do you think of these selections, Smido?
Tyson Fury. He's got a long way to step up. Remind me when we get to those races. I'll comment on those.
Mick Doonan's in the chat. We had Mick on last night. Says, evening, lads. Anyone posting a profit this week will have done well. I think you're right there by the sounds of it. Mick seems like a lot of people are in the same boat. We've got Brendan Smith in the house. Your team, Doubles and Trebles. Stephen Derbyshire's in the house. Lee Jones in the house. All the regulars are in tonight. God, it's a busy old night at the pub, isn't it? Right, let's crack on anyway to the 305. We're trying to get through 14 races. We're currently on race 2. So, we need to pick up the pace a little bit. We're running like one of Smido's selections at the moment. Got to go straight in with the King Edward the 7th, 8th. My Roman numerals aren't what they once were.
7th, yeah.
Yeah. What do you make of this one? This is quite a small field, but a bit of value to be had potentially.
Yeah, so the key here is there's 8 runners now. there might not be 8 runners by the time it gets to 3 o'clock or
Place-
3:05 tomorrow.
place
So
markets.
I'm going to be advising to hold your bets, but there will be a bet advice. Alenquer is the favourite 2-1. Famously beat subsequent Derby winner Adayar at Sandown on his last start. That was a Group 3. He's stepping up to Group 2 level. There was some up at Sandown that day. There were some funny results. It was the 23rd of April. The ground was all over the shop. They'd watered, but then it rained. So I thought there were some funny results that day. And, obviously Adayor held up the form, but it's been let down elsewhere, and there were some shock results. Title for Roger Varians in this race. He would have been a good thing in a handicap at Royal Ascot this week, and there was plenty of opportunities for him. He's off a mark of 92. He's definitely better than that. He may well go and prove it tomorrow. But so it is a surprise that Connections have decided to bypass a handicap option and come to this Group 2 instead. It could be some vote of confidence, but it is a big step up. Away from the 5, I like Tasman Bay. Like I say, there is the dead 8 runners, so I'd maybe be waiting till tomorrow to see what the weather's saying before backing him. You don't want to be each way 7 runners really. But yeah, I think Tasman Bay has got other than the Fav, has got the best form in this race. It's 14-1. I think he's definitely an each way play. I just think, he's been in and around some good yardsticks this year. John Leaper, one of them. I know that he bombed out in the Derby itself, but he's beat the likes of King Vega this year, who was at the time a decent yardstick. He was actually 1-5 King Vega. He had a good juvenile campaign. Tasman Bay beat him first time up this year, and then he's finished in and around horses like Maximal, Hurricane Lane. He's beat River Alwyn, who's gone on to win a decent race. He's beat Set Point, who nearly won a race at Chester. He's beat Latest Generation, who's ran okay last week at Sandown. So I think he's got decent enough form in and around there, and I think he can pick up some pieces. He's not a superstar, and he probably isn't going to go on to win this Tasman Bay, but I'm happy to take a chance on him each way. 3 places at 14-1, but like I say, just maybe hold your horses before taking that price.
Literally. So Tasman Bay, as it stands, as Smitho says, we're bang on the 8 runners at the moment, so you're getting your 3 places. 1 non-runner in the morning will scupper that, so probably want to hang fire on if you are going to follow him at Tasman Bay. We've had a few more messages in the chat popping off tonight. I'm actually struggling to keep up with it. Someone's asked me if I'm a Man United supporter, Stephen Derbyshire. This is actually a retro England shirt.
Clearly doesn't like football. Stick to racing.
Won't catch me. And to be fair, from this angle, I think I'm cutting the badge off a little bit, but it's just just threw it on. Just threw it on. I've actually support Carlisle United for my sins, and many moons ago I had Smitho in the away end at Mansfield Town. But so everyone's been affected by that, unfortunately. But anyway, let's stick to the racing. Tyson Fury, Stephen Derbyshire says chance, so he quite likes that one as well. Andy Hump saying might punch above its weight. No time for that. No time for that. Well done to anyone not in a horse. That's Andy Jones. Good to have you in, Andy. Rachel Duncan says better the week Mother Earth 4-1 or 7-2. Any thoughts on Mother Earth, Smitho?
Yeah, we're going to get to that favourites chance. Decent, obviously won the 1,000 guineas, but we'll go the Commonwealth Cup first by man at 3:40.
Okay, go on then. I'll let you roll while I get caught up on these comments.
20 runners, so it's almost certain to be the biggest Group 1 field this year. Possibly the Numthorpe might have something to say about that. So yeah, really good race, and it's quickly established itself as a feature of the week. I've already made a strong case for Dragon Symbol. I've backed him already. I put him up on our anti-post preview a couple of weeks ago. So I've got to stick with him. You can get 5 places in this race, which is pretty good. He's 6-1 in the 5 places market. I thought Dragon Symbol ran a really good race at Haydock. You know that I've made a case for him. I think he would have won that with another 2 strides. Had to race on his own. He didn't like the soft ground. So if the forecast, if we get more than forecast, if we go towards 20 mil, that would be a big concern for Dragon Symbol. Don't get me wrong. Sorry
to dive in. I've seen a couple of messages, people asking whether you think there will be a ground change. What do you think the going will be tomorrow?
Well, like I say, the forecast 8 to 12 mil is the official forecast.
Yeah.
And last week they were putting 5 mil on a day, or 10 mil every other day, whichever way you want to chop it. They've had, I think they had before racing today, after racing yesterday and before racing today, they had about 4 mil, and it did not change the ground at all. It's still pretty hot. It's been overcast, But like I say, you're just going on the forecast. I mean, I can only tell you what the official forecast is from the clock of the course at Ascot, and it's 8 to 12 mil. If it's at the top end of that, say 12 mil, I think Dragon Symbol will be fine. But anything more than that, then I'd start getting worried. So that's why I don't think he's going to change too much in the market. I'd maybe hold off your bet and see what the weather's like at, coming up to 3:30 tomorrow, something like that. I've already backed him anti-post anyway, so I'm already on him. I can't do anything about that. But I would be keen to back him again. But just weather pending. Swayzar, the French horse, has been all the rage. There've been O'Doonans on her, humps on her as well at juicy prices. Couldn't argue with her, to be honest. Obviously, any rain would be helpful, given she's a French horse. But I don't know if the form's any good. I mean, she's won a couple of Group 3s this year, nice and easily, both by over 3 lengths. But what's she beating? I mean, French racing's in a state of disarray. Away from the top level, French racing is nothing to shout about. Campanelle makes the market at the top of the betting, but has won on soft ground. Actually, won a Group 1 on soft ground last year. So one of the few American horses that can handle a bit of softer. But you could make a case for absolutely loads in here, Pie Man. You really could. Someone's mentioned the Balding horse, 5,000 to 1. He's not ran for 250 days, but he was last seen, going close in a Group 2. He finished the season in a Group 1. I mean, like I say, you can make case for all of them. Andy Jones, I know, made a case for Sacred, but she wants soft ground. I think Lee Jones likes Method. He wouldn't be for me. Miss Amulet won a Group 1 last year. Dandala, I think, won at Royal Ascot meeting last year. Laws of Indices is a horse I've touched on before. I mean, we're down to Aidan O'Brien's got one runner in this race. It's 66 to 1. I mean, you won't see many many races where Aidan's only got one runner in a Group 1 and it's 66 to 1. You could make a case for loads. I'm on Dragon Symbol and I'm sticking with Dragon Symbol.
Certainly could, yeah. Dragon Symbol. So, I mean, generally, I presume you're going to take them 6 places if you're putting it up now.
Yeah. I mean, you'd be stretched to say that Dragon Symbol doesn't handle a soft or heavy ground. He finished second in a known trial for this race at Haydock last time, and like I say, would have won that race with another couple of strides. He just prefers it better ground. I think he's got quite a low action and would definitely prefer it quicker. I'm not bothered. Like I say, if 10 mil goes on, no problem. If 20 mil goes on, I'll start getting worried.
Well, on this race, we had a couple of comments in. McDoonan says he still fancies 92 for Suez. He still think that's a good bet, a great bet in his opinion. Ground not really a concern. If it was, they would have pulled her. And Andy Jones says if the ground is good to firm, Sacred is a great bet, as you've just said there. Stephen Derbyshire asked for our thoughts on Wesley Ward. I won't quite describe it in Stephen's terms, but
well, he's not had a great week, has he?
Yeah.
But it's not through lack of trying. What he has done is there's been some races this week where the best horse has not necessarily won the juvenile race because he's been going off like a bullet out of a gun. It's almost like our UK and Irish juveniles, the home team, if you like, are having to learn or be ridden the dancing the tune of the American runners, and they've got no choice because the American runners go out that quick. You can't just let them go because obviously the line will come and they'll win. So we're having to dance to Wesley's tune. Luckily enough for us, i.e. the Brits, we've been able to be in front when the line comes. But it like I say, it's a stiff uphill finish at Ascot. People don't really realise it enough. So yeah, they're going out there, a bullet out of a gun, maybe in front of the furlong pole, but they're not in front of the winning post, and that's where it matters.
Yeah, so there you are then. Well, I'm going to move you on again, and we're moving on to the main event of tomorrow in some respects. Certainly for a couple of our viewers, because I've seen some comments for a horse that you've mentioned that a lot on this channel, Pretty Gorgeous. Mother Earth, obviously, has already had a shout in the chat. I know Alcohol Free's been a horse we've talked a lot about. Where are you going in the Coronation?
This is the best race of the week. There's absolutely no question. This is a really brilliant week. I mean, we've got the Newmarket 1,000 guineas winner in Mother Earth. We've got the Irish 1,000 guineas winner in Empress Josephine. We've got the wildly impressive listed winner in Primo Bacio. We've got the juvenile Group 1 winner, Pretty Gorgeous. We've got another juvenile Group 1 winner, Alcohol Free, and there are a few others as well. This is a fantastic race. It really is. I put up Alcohol Free anti-post 14 to 1 after doing a U-turn on her stamina, given I said she wouldn't stay a mile and this race is over a mile. But I was hoping it wouldn't be as competitive as this. She's about 11-1 now. I couldn't put her up now, to be honest, but I've already got my fiver on, so I'm going to have to cheer that on anti-post. But it was not an official selection. So you can put my name down, Pieman, for a bit of 5-1 each way, 5 places, which is, again, generous. There's only 13 runners, and you're getting 5 places with you know who. Primo Bacio. I think it's a bit of a gift, that 5-1, to be honest. She was pretty sensational at York last time. Could hardly have won any easier. She won by 3 lengths, just travelled beautifully and just swooshed in, to be honest. The second that day, Creative Flair, has won since. He's actually entered Saturday. Just she's ridden out the back, so her running style I think will be suited to Ascot. We've seen a fair few coming from behind this week to win, particularly on the straight course. This is on the round course, don't get me wrong, but I mean, we're going to get your money back if she finds 1 or 2 or even 4 too good. If she finishes 5th, we're going to get us money back. It's a very, very hot race. It really is. Pretty Gorgeous could well break my heart by winning. I've talked her up so much for the 1,000 guineas, which she didn't run in. She ran in the Irish 1,000 guineas, was drawn very wide, travelled okay, one of them kind of not fit runs. So, I'm not going to deny I probably will end up with a couple of quid on Pretty Gorgeous because I can't let her go and win. She needs one more chance. Usually I can give up on horses. Escobar was one of them. He's done now. He can win next time for all I care. But Pretty Gorgeous, I must admit, if Pretty Gorgeous wins tomorrow, it would hurt if I wasn't on. Great race though, really fantastic race.
It is a good race. Even looking further down, I mean, we've still not really touched on the Snow Lantern. Shale at one point was featuring
another Group 1 winner.
Featuring heavily in these markets at the start of the year and just sort of bombed off. And Gavin Ryan, you mentioned earlier, doing the steering on that one. A little bit of money around as well, but It's a red hot race. Love to hear what everyone's thoughts are for that in the chat box. But let's see if we've got any picks in already. Well, Mick Doonan's all in on Mother Earth, gets her ground. Brutus is in the chat. Good to have you in, Brutus. Evening, gents. Late to the party. Just been clearing my tears after a disaster of a day. Sounds like it's a familiar theme for anyone. I did see a comment. There was a comment earlier that I didn't get read out. Apologies to whoever it was. David Harrington says, "Lads, it's my worst Royal Ascot ever. Not one winner." I'm really hoping that we've got a turnaround in these last 2 days, because if the knowledgeable folks in this chat can't find the winners, then we're in real trouble, aren't we? Really, but that's a red hot race. Do let us know if you've got any thoughts on that or any questions you want me to go back to. In the meantime, I'm going to move us on. So we're going on to the Sandringham next, I think.
Yeah, just the 30 runners for 3-year-old fillies, similar to the Britannia. Yeah. To be honest, I think a lot of these are way too nicely bred to be running in handicaps, to be honest with you. But so be it. That's where we are. I think this is the most open, officially the most open race of the week. It is 11-1 the field, Pieman. 11-1 is the shortest odds of any horse in this race. That is insane. Friendly's at the top of the market by Galileo. You don't see many Galileo horses in handicaps. Well, this is one. Some had her down as an eye catcher in the 1,000 guineas in Ireland. That was on heavy ground, won by Empress Josephine, that runs in the in the race before this, the Coronation. She was 6 in that at 100-1. Made some progress down the rail late on. Some people's got that one down as an eye catcher, but her official rating on that day, even though it wasn't a handicap, but she was officially rated at the time 81. It wasn't a handicap though. She's got racing here off 102. So she's gone she's rated £21 higher than she was last time. I do stress that last time was not a handicap, but you still get assessed on your performances on the track. So she's going to need to be good to win this off 102. I found one Pieman in this, and it's drifted since I made my notes. There's a horse in here called Behold from Roger Charlton, rated 84, right? 84. Now, if Behold isn't rated significantly higher than 84 at the end of this season, I will show my backside on Ascot High Street. This cannot be. This has got to be better than 84. This horse. It's out of Frankel by a horse called Tendu. Now, Tendu also ran in the Judmont colours like Frankel, reached a peak rating of 107. I just think, she's got headgear on for the first time, Behold, and there's good reason for that, Pieman. basically, she's hit the front too soon on both of her last two starts, and probably at least she should have won at least one of them. And you could probably, if you backed her, you would probably argue she should have won both. I've never backed her before. She finished second at Newbury, went clear, went long odds on. She was even money anyway. SP went long odds on and got beat on basically on the line. And then she's done pretty similar at Kempton and hit the front too soon again. They were in smaller fields. There was 12 at Kempton, 11 at Newbury. So not tiny fields, don't get me wrong, but there's 30 in this one. Now, David Egan, get her switched off. She needs to be delivered right as late as possible on the line. She's drawn in 18, which is a good draw. The high draws have still been doing best. Although the bias isn't a definite bias, but anyway, yeah. Behold, she's drifted since I wrote these notes. She's 20-1, 7 places each way. I'll just hope that I can get close in one of these handicaps because I've been no way near recently. But yeah, Behold is definitely the one there tomorrow in the Sandringham.
There you go. Then a strong case in the Sandringham. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest.
Fingers crossed.
We'll need a bit of luck, as you always do in these big fields with the draw and the trail through and stuff like that. But good luck. I mean, you deserve a bit of luck, so all the best for you. I think this could be a quick one, this next one, because you didn't really have anything for the Duke of Edinburgh last time I spoke to you.
Yeah, struggle. There's just too many. I said this in our first video about 2 months ago.
Opening just too many races for the Duke of Edinburgh. While Adam Chas, do let me know if you've got any fancies there.
Yeah. I just think there's too many races. So yeah, I did. I tried, but I could. Nothing was standing out after a few minutes of looking at that. So I moved on swiftly to the final handicap of the day over 5 furlongs. And I thought there was one that stood out to me here, and I think it's still the wrong price now. And that horse is Warrior Brave. If this horse can run in a straight line, he'll be dangerous. So that's one thing. He has had a tendency last couple of starts not to run in a straight line, but you can get 7-1 each way, 6 places on this horse. I think the bigger field's got to help him. He was gelded after 3 career runs, and blinkers are on for the first time here, which has got to help because he's not run in a straight line the last couple of times, particularly at Sandown where he jinked. He did only run last Saturday, Pieman, so we're taking it that he's fit and ready to go. Hopefully he is. He ran a horse on Saturday called Atalis Bay second, and I think Atalis Bay is a decent horse. Has got some good form. I think that, like I say, I think the bigger field will help. So yeah, I think Warrior Brave should be favourite for this. He is not. 7-1 each way, 6 places.
There you go then. Warrior Brave in the last tomorrow for Smido. That does wrap up Friday's action. As you know, we are going to run through Saturday's action nice and rapid fire because we're already on 9 o'clock and we're probably running a little bit behind the pace, quite fittingly this week. But Saturday's action, we are moving on. If you've got any final thoughts on Friday, do get them on and do let me know what your naps are for tomorrow as well, and I'll try and run through them before the end. But as we are, we'll run straight into Saturday's Smido. I'm thinking some of these races might be more difficult to make a solid selection. Obviously, we've still got a lot of time between now and Saturday. Ground changes, non-runners, all kinds of carnage set to unfold. But if you could just give us a few rough guides to these races, starting with the Chesham 7 furlong listed race for the 2-year-olds.
What I would say about the Saturday, I think it's the worst day of Royal Ascot, to be honest with you, for numerous reasons. But the Chesham is the first one on the Saturday, listed race for 2-year-olds. This is the only juvenile race at Royal Ascot over 7 furlongs. Normally they because they're so early in their career and in their life, they don't normally go this far. But yeah, 7 furlongs Chesham. So Aidan O'Brien's won 3 of the last 5. That's the first place to start. And it's a race that's been won by some very good horses over the years, even recently. Pinatubu, September, Churchill, Maybe, etc. Point Lonsdale is a full brother to Broome, the fab for the Hardwick that's also on the Saturday an hour after this race. So we could have a couple of brothers winning separate races on the same day. He could hardly have been any more impressive on debut, Point Lonsdale, to be honest. He won by over 5 lengths. That was just 17 days ago. He scooted clear when he was asked to do so. He's 5-4 for good reason. Team Godolphin have not had a single juvenile runner this week, which is a bit of a surprise, really, given the size of their operation. So they must think a little bit of new science, given that he's even entered in this race. He won at Yarmouth on debut. But yeah, nearly all of these are making their 7 of the 10. I've only had 1 run so far, so it is a guessing game, to be fair. From what we've seen so far, I think Great Max looks decent each way value. He's 12-1. Finished very strongly on debut when he got a clear run. and he's certain to get further in time as his career goes on. He actually made his debut over 6.5, so it's only half a furlong step up. But I think he'll definitely want further in time. I think he should be shorter than 12-1 personally. I'm happy to play him each way. Just in case, Point Lonsdale is the next superstar. You can get standard 3 places each way for this one, Pimer.
Yeah, so that was that great Max in that one, I think.
Yeah.
Just scrolling back up the chat there, and I know we skipped the 5:35 on tomorrow, but I have seen Brendan Smith mention Sam Cook a couple of times, and he actually says there's Sam Cook being punted big style. Hector Crouch taking the ride there. Any thoughts on that one?
Well, I trust that Brendan's on, but no, there's no real thoughts for me on that race. But yeah, good luck to Brendan. He does deserve a win. He's been a tad unlucky this week with a couple, as we all have by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it sounds like it's across the board really. Just want to ask you, Rachel Duncan as well asked, what do you boys think of Caroline Dale in the 6:10? I think that's tomorrow.
That's the horse trained by David Locklane, I think, and I think that he had the 1-2. He had the 1-2 in the final race yesterday. One of them was ridden by Laura Pearson. Certainly in form, and he has got a good record at Ascot, to be fair. Good luck to you.
Yeah, okay, I'll move it on. Simon Smith says he won't be backing anything on Saturday. So he concurs with your views on the...
well, if I have another disaster tomorrow, I might be doing the same, Simon.
That's the way it's going, I'm afraid. But we'll move it on again. On to the Jersey, Group 3, 7 furlongs for 3-year-olds. Where are we thinking here?
Godolphin have got a couple near the top of the market. I think Creative Force, he's already won. I think he's won 3 times this year. He's won a couple of times out in handicaps. I think we put him up once, and then he won in a listed event last time. So he's had a productive season so far, Creative Force. But I think he's better over 6. I don't really know why they're trying him over 7. Muta Sarbeck has a chance back on a softer surface. I'm not sure he quite enjoyed the very pretty quick ground on the 2,000 guineas. He was well beaten in the end, don't get me wrong, but he's going to be interesting. I think Stephen Derbyshire will probably back him. But what put me off Muta Sarbeck was the form of his earlier win, which was at Newmarket in a conditions race, really quite easy. That's not worked out well. So question marks there. So the one I've landed on is a little bit left field. Valdream is 14-1, 5 places. Pretty much the only one to come from the back and get close in the Fred Darling at Newbury in April. She was 50-1 that day, a race won by Alcohol Free. Really did catch the eye, finishing very strongly late on. Then she ran in the 1,000 guineas. She travelled okay before emptying late. I don't think she got the trip, Valdream. She's back to 7 furlong on the Ascot straight track. Looks pretty ideal to me. Spencer will be on, so you know what's going to happen. He's going to be sat out the back. I think Valdream's underestimated in this market at 14-1, to be honest, Pimer.
5 places as well for that as well. So solid each way selection in the Jersey then, Valdream. And just going back a race quickly, I did miss a comment on by Brutus saying if the Queen is there, it's to see a winner. And I think that is in reference to
Reach the
for the Moon.
Ridden by the main man, Frank.
A little bit of money around for as well. So,
I don't think she's been there all week. I've seen Prince Charles was the first 2 days, and then Princess Anne was there today. Because where I'm situated, when royalty turn up, it is protocol to stand and to stand as they arrive. Believe it or not. So I've been following protocol.
Well, love to hear Stephen Derbyshire's thoughts on that particular protocol in the chat. But we'll crack on. I just want to keep an eye on this chat because we have got a few coming in now. Simon Smith says Naval Crown has form just behind Sealaway.
It does. And also Naval Crown ran well for a long way in the 2,000 guineas, if I remember rightly. It was like 50-1 in the 2,000 guineas and ran really well for a long way. So I looked at Naval Crown, to be fair. Decent. He's a decent prospect, but I've landed on Valdream on that one.
Yeah, and then in the Jersey, Andy Jones says Belosa in the Jersey. Chapel Hyam absolutely loves her.
Yes. Now, I watched Belosa's race back today, and what was the thoughts that I had? I think I ended up going against her because I think she'll be underestimated in the market. She always is. The form of that race ain't a lot. That was my conclusion. And she hung left that day as well. So, wasn't 100% sure, but the form of that race not very good. Fundamentals done naff all. since then, Devil Waller, we know that how good she is or isn't. Yeah.
Yeah. Just another comment. I'm not sure if we're on the same race here. In fact, I'm almost certain we're not. Paul Harris said, "I fancy Wonderful, Wonderful tonight."
Yeah. So do I. Well, that brings us nicely on, Pie Man, to the
there you
Hardwick
go.
Stakes.
Paul just moving
We're
us
wonderful
on
tonight. Yeah,
seamlessly
wonderful
there.
tonight. Just run. Yeah. This is an open race, and there's a lot more runners than you normally get in this Hardwick. So, there is no race at Royal Ascot over 1.5 miles, Group 1. The Prince of Wales is 10 furlongs, Group 1. So this is a Group 2 and acts as a bit of a trial for the King George, which takes place at Ascot at the end of July. There's many more runners than usual, 15, which is, like I say, higher than usual. Aidan O'Brien's got 4 entered. So I've not got a clue who is the best, and neither is he, because he's got Broome, Japan, Tiger Moth, and Mogul all entered. Just £2 splits them on official ratings. 2 of them are rated 115, Broome and Tiger Moth, and the other 2, Japan and Mogul, are rated 117. So who knows there? I've got no clue. I thought Japan was crap in the Coronation. I think Broome has been the second choice. He's been like the reserve runner for he's rattled off. He's won 3 races and come second in another one, the latter being a Group 1. I don't think he was the first choice runner in any of those races, to be honest. Listed Group 3, Group 2 and Group 1. I mean, he's gone the right way about it, Pine Man, going up the levels. But I think that Love could have ran in a couple of those races if the ground was firm. I think he's just an afterthought, Broome. He's 7-2 favourite for this. I'm not interested in him. There is no question whatsoever who the most overpriced horse is in this race. And it is Wonderful tonight, as has been highlighted in the comments. She's 12-1. She's a Group 1 winner over course and distance when we last saw her. That was at the back end of last year. So she has had 245 days off. This is first time up this season. Before that, she'd won a French Group 1. So she's the last 2 races, she's won Group 1 races. One was on heavy, one was on soft. So any rain between now and then will be no problem for Wonderful tonight. Like I say, this is the first start of the season. I do hope she's fit and ready to go. It would be a slight worry because she holds entries in 5 separate Group 1 races in the next 5 weeks. Now, she ain't going to run in all of them, but it does suggest that this is a bit of a stepping stone, as it is for many of them. But it does suggest, she might not be fit, and this will get a bang on for the likes of the Eclipse, the King George, and whatever may come after that. But it is Royal Ascot after all, Pie Man. So, you ought to be trying, particularly from owners that aren't used to having Royal Ascot or Group 1 winners and a trainer in David Nanusier, who I don't think's ever had a Royal Ascot winner. And I think Wonderful tonight was his first Group 1 winner in the UK. I might be wrong in that. So any rain would be a bonus for her. But like I say, she's available at 11-1 each way, 5 places. I think that's a stonking bet, given that she's got form at the track, etc. I think she's very much underestimated in this market, but it is wide open. I mean, the thing is though, like at near the top of this market, say in comparison to Wonderful tonight, Illarab, right, has been winning handicaps this season. I think he's won 2 handicaps. This is his first time in Group 1 company. He's a shorter price than Wonderful tonight. That's wrong. Hookham, never been anywhere near winning a Group 1. He got the closest say in the St. Ledger. I think he was 4th. He's 4-1. So Wonderful tonight's 3 times the price of Hookham. I mean, it's a standout value, but it is a really, really good field. I mean, even further down, Highest Ground is a horse we spoke about on here before. Wonderfully bred, got his head in front at Leicester last time in a lesser race. Logician is, I know, someone that Andy Jones is probably in the chat right now saying Logician for this race. So Ron Priestley,
just as you've said it, has said Logician bounces back big time in the Hardwick.
I think he's gone at the game, to be honest. But I mean, I could be proven wrong. I just think he's gone. So Ron Priestley beat Pile Driver earlier this season. Pile Driver went on to win the Coronation Cup. SD enjoyed that one. Tiger Moth was placed in the Melbourne Cup. Japan is one. I think he's a 3-time Group 1 winner. It's a good race, but Wonderful tonight is definitely the best value. Really, genuinely is the best value, definitely.
There you go. Put up by Paul Harris in the chat, and Smido completely agrees with you there. Wonderful tonight is by far and away the most interesting selection, and I think you can get 5 places again on Wonderful tonight, 11-1. Is that about right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, the chat continues to boom. I've had a couple talking about Broome, but you're not keen on Broome, no?
No, I like I said, I just think he's like, I don't know what the term really is. He's just an afterthought. He's the afterthought. He's the reserve runner. I don't think he's ever been a priority at Ballydoyle. he had the best chance he's ever going to have to win a Group 1 was last time in an average field in the Tatsal's Gold Cup in Ireland. He got beat, but it was close. It was pretty close. Got done late on in that, but he's not the standout for me. I mean, purely on talent, Japan's got to be a more talented horse than Broome, but Japan's just not. He's not backing it up as. I can't. Broome's not. He's not a UK proper Royal Ascot Group 1 winner to me.
No, okay then. Going to move you on to the Diamond Jubilee, Group 1, obviously over 6 furlongs. And what are your thoughts here? I mean, we've got Starman at the top of the betting at the moment, Dream of Dreams. I seem to remember, was Dream of Dreams the horse that was denied very unfortunately at Ascot?
Oh yeah, he's been second in this race 2 years running by a neck and a head, I think.
Yeah.
So he'll have
I think I was on for one of those. I'm obviously scarred by it.
Yeah, Dream of Dreams won quite well in a decent race at, I think it's a listed race at Windsor last time, so he's shown his fitness. Starman's at the top of the market. He's getting pretty short now. Starman's as short as 9-4 with a couple of suppliers. He's the new kid on the block in this 6 furlong division, but he did bomb out on his only start at Ascot, and that's actually the only time he's faced defeat. So Starman's raced 5 times, won 4 of them. The only time he got beat was in Ascot on Champions Day last year. That was on soft ground. So if they want to blame the soft ground for that, they wouldn't want any rain between now and Saturday at 4:20. I'm not backing him, but he could be a star. He's got a bit more of an X factor than Dream of Dreams. I think Dream of Dreams will only win a Group 1 when it's a little bit weak and it's not got a superstar involved. Starman could be that superstar, but I'm not risking my money to find out, to be honest. He's way too short at 9-4. That's really, really short. Royal Commando is a horse I identified, I mean, how long ago was it now, Pyman? About 6-7 weeks ago when we did our preview. He was 14-1 at the time. He's about the same price now, maybe slightly bigger than that now. He just looked towards going places on his only start at Doncaster this year. SD backed him that day. I'll credit him because I thought he was a bit off the radar, Royal Commando, but he won at Doncaster quite well. He's not been seen since then, so I'm hoping that they've been saving him for this. Like I say, that Doncaster race, some decent form in behind, not standout, but some decent form in behind. Second that day, Star River, Emiratiana placed in a Group 3 next time. Fourth that day, Summergand, won twice since. Seventh that day, Mr. Lupton has won a good handicap at York since. Eighth that day, Ainsdale was placed in a Group 2 race since. So, plenty of decent form in there. He was due to run in a Group 2 at the Curragh last month, but it was withdrawn due to heavy ground. I think good to soft's fine, but he wouldn't want heavy, so just keep an eye on that. But yeah, Royal Commando's 14-1 each way, 5 places. I think you'll definitely get a run for your money off him, and Charlie Hill certainly knows how to train a sprinter. That is for sure.
There you go, 14-1 selection in the Diamond Jubilee. Do let us know your thoughts in the Diamond Jubilee. We are getting close to wrap up time now, and we have 3 races left to cover. I've got a suspicion that the last race won't be your interest, the conditionals race. Smido?
Yeah, absolutely no interest at all in a 2 mile 6 furlongs conditions race at Royal Ascot. No interest.
Well, I'm sure there's some reprobates in the chat that will have an interest in that.
Oh, yeah.
We do have a selection for the last. Now is the time to get that in. We're going to look at the other 2 races before wrapping up. And do be getting your naps in for the next 2 days in the chat, and I will run through the best selections. I've already seen somebody a bit further up saying Title was their best bet tomorrow. Around 9-2, I think, running in the King Edward. So there's one in. Anyone can better that, please. We want to hear all your best selections for the Friday and Saturday action. But Smido, penultimate race for our show tonight, the walking.
Right, I've got a good line in here. King's Lynn was ridden on Tuesday in the King's Stand Group 1 by Oisin Murphy, and Oisin Murphy, when he came into the weighing room, said that he thought he was hampered and he thought he would have won. Now, I'm not saying I necessarily agree that he would have won, but it has certainly gone a lot closer than 7th. It was only 3 1/4 lengths. He got denied a clear run up the rail that day. Oxted did win well. Like I said, I'm not saying King's Lynn would have won, but it had gone closer than 7th. So that was on Tuesday in a Group 1. The official handicapper had him running on that day to a mark of 107. He gets in here off 100 because the weights for this race were already out. So it's pretty, unprecedented, really. Often you've had more than a few occasions. You've had a horse run in the Group 1 King Stand over 5 furlong on the Tuesday, and then run in the Group 1 Diamond Jubilee over 6 furlongs on the Saturday. That's the race we've just covered. A few horses, I think, Blue Point and one other that looks like Quasar. They won both races, which is remarkable. But King's Lynn is running a Group 1 on Tuesday, and now he's running in a handicap, 4 notches down the grade on the Saturday. It's quite something. He's £7 well in. But I know I sound like a bit of a big timer when I say this, but I did actually speak to Murphy today. He's not riding King's Lynn on Saturday. He's committed to another horse. He said that King's Lynn wouldn't be a certain runner. Obviously, there's a short turnaround, and he said, and I quote, he sometimes comes back a bit scratchy after his races. Now, I don't actually know what that means, but I didn't embarrass myself and ask what that means. I think it's maybe just a bit beat up, takes a few days to recover from a run. So he is entered. They're going to have a walk on the course Saturday and look at the ground, look at the horse himself, and then they'll decide whether they commit to run or not. But that's enough with King's Lynn. Now, this is going to be something, Pie Man. I find this race really tricky away from King's Lynn, obviously. And I've got one that's a borderline ridiculous price. It's a borderline ridiculous selection altogether, to be honest. And I'm saying this after, in the second race of the whole week, I put up a 66 to 1 shot. This is even more ambitious than that. Not price. It's actually priced a little bit less, but it's more ambitious when you take everything into account. The horse is called Snazzy Jazzy, and he is 50 to 1. He's 66 to 1 in the win markets, but 50 to 1, 7 places, Snazzy Jazzy. Now, bear with me, Pimer. He's got some really good form in the book. If you look back into his career, he's a 6-year-old now, don't get me wrong. He won in around 2018, 2019. He's won a French Group 3. He had a listed win in the UK. I think it was at Haydock. He won the Air Silver Cup, which is a competitive handicap to win. So they were in 2018, 2019. It's fair to say he's lost his way since. But Snazzy Jazzy did run Group 1 winner Space Blues to under 2 lengths off level weights less than a year ago. That was at Haydock. He beat some good yardsticks on his next start after that. So he's still showing ability without, he hasn't won for a while, but he's still showing he's got it a little bit. He did lose his way towards the back end of last season. Don't get me wrong. Fifth, third. It doesn't, third of 6. It doesn't look good. But he's been transferred out of the Clive Cox yard and into a smaller yard with Lawrence Mullenny, who certainly won't have many runners at Royal Ascot so far in his career. Now, Snazzy Jazzy is top weight in the Wokingham, so it's clearly going to need to be on top form to win. But the fact that he is top weight shows that he's got some good back form. But the key to all of this, Pineman, Laura Pearson, she claims £5. She's worth every single pound of it. She has shown her abilities this week. She had a winner earlier this week. So Snazzy Jazzy, and I don't say this all the time about horses ridden by claimers, because the claim is there for a reason. But with Laura Pearson, and it was similar comments to like Kieran Fallon Jr. when he was still claiming, they're effectively in off 102. She's taking £5 off. He's 107. So 102 is a lot more competitive off that mark. It puts him right amongst it, I think. He's 50 to 1, 7 places each way, Pineman. Like I say, he's got that back form. This horse has, he's been running in some good races back in the day. Hopefully, he's been transferred to this new yard. Hopefully, that can bring a bit of improvement out on him, and he could be the typical group horse in a handicap. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed at that price. Absolute monster of a shout there for Snazzy Jazzy at 50 to 1, 7 places. So you're getting 10 to 1 on it, finishing 7. I mean, you can't complain with that, can you? I mean, really. And I like the effort that's gone into the backstory there. Hopefully you found one for you. That could be the one that makes the whole week a profitable one at that kind of price. But strange things have happened. So I had a couple of mentions for Tis Marvellous in that course specialist, and Simon Smith referencing the behind Blue Point Caravaggio and Bound for Nowhere in the Commonwealth a few years ago. That could be a decent shout. Around the 12 to 1 mark, I think. Just have to check that. Tis Marvellous. Yeah.
Loves it.
You've got one to play at 25, but 16-ish, 16, 18. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm going to roll it on then to the Golden Gate Handicap, which we'll finish off this evening show. Any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, really quite competitive to finish. Maximum field of 16. Handicap for 3-year-old. All 3-year-old only handicaps are difficult at this meeting. Fox's Tails is the one I've landed on. I think he's the second choice, or he will be the second choice horse in this ownership in this race. But he gets to be ridden by Oisin Murphy, which is no bad substitute. Related to some good horses, Fox's Tails is goes in here off 93. He's an half brother to Fox Champion, was rated 112 at the peak. He's a half brother to Lacalina, 111 at her peak, and half brother to a horse called Enstar, 106 at his peak. So, yeah, he should be better than 93 at some point in his career. Hopefully, it's this Saturday. Fox's Tails absolutely battered, and I mean battered, the favourite for this race in his first race this season, which was at Newbury in April. That horse is called Alfadel, and I think Alfadel is 9-2 favourite for this. Well, he couldn't even get anywhere near Fox's Tails when they last met, doing him by 8 lengths. He's crying out. Fox's Tails, I think, is crying out for the 10 furlong trip. And you can get a big marker pen, Pie Man, because this horse has only had 3 starts in his career. You can get a big marker pen and put a line directly through his last start at Chester and forget all about it. Fox's Tails at Chester, forget everything that happened there, because he missed the break. He was hampered. He hung left. He was never happy. Never, ever happy at all. Forget that. Completely forget that. And just concentrate on the form he showed before then. And like I say, winning that decent maiden at Newbury where Alfadel was in behind there. Alfadel is favourite because he's gone on and won twice since. Well, Fox's Tails, they've taken the time a bit more with him. And he's, one's 7-2 and one's 14-1. I mean, and to be fair as well, Fox's Tails carries £4 less in this event than Alfadel does. So yeah, another one where we're looking at the places, five places, 14-1 each way. Quite like Fox's Tails. And I will give a mention to River Alwyn, who I think is probably too highly weighted. He goes in here off 101, but ran a cracker, I thought, off top weight, or it was close to top weight. In the London Gold Cup, which is a horse we had the winner of that, Pie Man. The London Gold Cup at Newbury, we said always gives up some good horses and some good winners going to the future. River Alwyn carried more than any other horse in the London Gold Cup and still managed to finish third, and he was very close to finishing second. So shout out to River Alwyn, but maybe one for another day.
Yeah, maybe one for another day, but it's Fox's Tails for Saturday for Smido, and that does wrap up our selections. Thanks for your consistent messages in the chat tonight. It's been really lively, and just to whiz through a couple of the ones that have come in. Margaret says Cox usually throws one in. I think that was in reference to the prior race that we were discussing there. Paul Harris agreeing with Simon there on Tis Marvellous, so that's one to keep an eye on certainly. Tyson Fury gets another mention. That's another one I'm going to be keeping an eye on. I've seen that mentioned a few times now.
Oh yeah, we didn't mention that.
And Simon Smith, well, this is a nice way to wrap things up, says, can I just say, this is the best racing show in the UK on YouTube. Well, Simon, I can honestly say that's probably the best compliment we've ever had, and I'm not sure how accurate it is, but we'll take it at this stage. We'll take anything we can get. And I just want to seriously say, though, thanks very much to everyone that has taken the time to join us this week. It's been an absolute pleasure to go live. And because it's gone so well, we're looking at having a weekly racing chat, probably on the same night every week, probably about half an hour, 45 minutes, just to chat all things racing, really. So any fancies, upcoming meetings, and any talking points. So we'll probably take suggestions for topics on our Twitter feed throughout the week, and we may look at next Thursday as potentially as a first, a first try for the show. But it definitely can't end this call without saying well done to Smido, because he's really put the hours in doing his Ascot study, and the results maybe haven't shown for it just yet, but I'm confident he's going to get out of jail with a couple of good selections on Friday and Saturday, because he's certainly put the hours in. He's worked very hard on it this week, and it's been a pleasure to just sort of sit back and steer the wheel, really, and enjoyed listening and reading all your comments as well. So big thanks from me. Smido, any closing comments before we wrap up?
Well, nicely said, Pie Man. And we've just been a bit surprised, really. It has been a bit of a big undertaking. We started with a big undertaking on the channel, covered every single day of the World Darts Championship. When we first said it, we thought, yeah, we'll do that easy. Then, there's family commitments, etc. So we managed that, and Pine Man's been a bit. We both got full-time busy jobs. Particularly with this week with the Euros and Royal Ascot and all sorts going on. We're both lucky enough to work within sport, and it's just good to get our opinions over really when we can. And behind on the week so far, but we've got 2 days left to hopefully turn a bit of profit. So do bear with us. But I would say before we finish up, Pine Man, all 3 sports that we cover are still in profit.
Yeah, and if you do, even if you have no interest in the darts and the golf, do try and head over and catch some of that content as well. We maybe don't get as many views on those ones, but we do get the results, and we'll try and sort of put it in layman's terms for those who aren't as interested as well. So do have a good look around the channel. We'll have some more content coming your way next week. Good luck with all your picks at Royal Ascot, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks for watching.
Yes, thank you.